Okay. Namaste, you guys. I wanted to show you something, and it's Hanuman. So Hanuman is going to be kind of in our practice tonight because we're going to work on poses called Hanumanasana. And the reason why these particular poses are named after him, there's a myth that says that when he was completely devoted to Ram was married at the time to Sita. Sita had been kidnapped by this other king, and he sent all of his men out to try to help to recover his wife. And Hanuman had gone to the edge of the land of India at the time, and across the sea was Sri Lanka. And he had this intuitive feeling that Sita was on that island. And so he leapt from one landmass to the other. So I'm going ahead and telling you, we're working up to the splits tonight, but you don't have to do the full splits. You know, we're not cheerleaders here. So we're going to do the best that we can with what our bodies are capable of doing now. And that's why I suggested that you grab props. You know, if you have a bolster, and if you don't have a bolster, grab some pillows. It could be a pillow off your bed or a couple toss pillows that are firmer. You can have 2 blocks available. I even have a blanket just because I'm on a wood floor and I want a little bit more padding for my knees. And we're going to save that pose for the very, very end. So we're going to have plenty of time to warm up, and we're going to make it restorative. And what I want to talk about as far as the theme is sometimes you'll hear the full expression of a pose. And when we hear that term full expression, our human mind tends to go towards the, photographs of the model doing the perfect, like advanced version of the pose. But really what the full expression is, it's when your body is aligned properly in the pose, when you're honoring your body and doing what you can with your strength and your flexibility, to the point where the breath is able to easily circulate. And if the breath has that ease in being able to circulate, then the mind can be more focused. And when the mind is fully focused on what you're doing in that present moment, you can go into a state of absorption, which is the meditation, the state of absorbing into that oneness of whatever you're doing at hand. And the sutras, I wanted to write this down so I could get it verbatim. The Yoga Sutras say, and that's the book of yoga philosophy, when it's talking about an asana practice being mastered, it says all effort is relaxed and the mind completely absorbed in the infinite. When all effort is relaxed and the mind is absorbed into the infinite. So we're not going to try to go for the full split that's going to have all this like crazy sensation. We're going to make it restorative, because what I really want you to focus on is allowing the poses to be your own personal expression. So the full expression is your personal expression, your individualized expression, your unique expression that you bring to it. All right, so no one's scared and running away. That's great. All right, so we're going to go ahead and begin. And we're going to start in child's pose. And if you want to lay a blanket down to put your knees on top of that, then of course you can. I'll meet you on the mat. So when you come to take child's pose, you're welcome to have the thighs together or knees open. You're welcome to be balled up like this with the spine rounded and the arms around you, or having your arms extended out in front of you. If your head doesn't come comfortably to the floor, you can always grab that pillow or bolster and you can place it underneath your abdomen, chest, and face. And then, of course, if you know other expressions that may be better for you, then, of course, feel free to take it. Take a moment to close your eyes once you settle in. And start to come home to your breath. Breathing in and out through the nose. And as you're paying attention to the breath, try to emphasize each part of the breath. So there's just as much importance and effort on your inhale along with your exhale. And I want you, when you're breathing in and out through the nose and centering yourself for this practice, I want you to give yourself permission to express yourself openly, freely, and truthfully in the asanas and the postures and shapes that we're going to create in a way where it's compatible and complementary to your body type, to your level of experience, to your unique genetics, your skeletal structure, muscular strength and flexibility, and your constitution. Remembering that the full expression of the pose is when we are aligned, when we are honoring our edge, when the breath is openly able to circulate, and when the mind has full absorption on what we're doing in the now moment and with the infinite. On your next inhale, we're going to come up to standing Vajrasana. And when you come up to standing Vajrasana, I'm going to walk my knees a little bit more forward onto the blanket. And your hands are going to come to prayer position at your heart. As you inhale, bring the arms up to frame the face. And as you exhale, clasp a hold of your right wrist and lower down towards your right cheek and temple, similar to child's. And then inhale, coming back up, standing Vajrasana, arms overhead. And then exhale, circle the arms behind you, grab your left wrist and lower to your left cheek and temple. And then we're going to continue this flow of movement, finding the rhythm of the breath and coordinating the movements so they're in sync with the same cadence. And we're alternating sides from left to right. One more to each. And feel free to use that Ujjayi pranayama. Now, the next time you come up to standing Vajrasana, we're going to twist to the right, separate the hands wide, lean back with your thighs. Inhale, drive forward, face the front, relift the arms. Exhale, spin to your left and lean back. Inhale, face the front and center. Exhale, twist right and lean back. Inhale, coming back to center. And exhale, rotating to the left. One more to each side. Inhale, back to center. And then exhale, bring the hands down to prayer position. All right, we're gonna move from camel to child's. So in your camel, inhale, lift the arms up, shift your hips forward, splay the arms open. And as you exhale, contract the belly, round down with the spine, and sweep the hands back towards the feet. Inhale, coming up to Ustrasana Camel. Your expression is going to be where your flexibility is in your vertebrae. And then exhale, pour down to child. Let's do one more. Affirming, I am a unique expression of the universal fabric of creation. And now fold to child's. Relax and breathe. I am a unique expression of the divine. On your next inhalation, stretch the arms out in front of you. Separate your hands shoulder distance apart. Rock up to hands and knees. Curl the toes under and launch into Vinyasa. Downward facing dog. Press through your palms. Shine up through your hips. Roll your thighs back. Gaze towards your feet and breathe. On your next inhale, lift your heels up. And exhale, descend your knees down. All right, we're going to step the right foot forward and in between the hands. And if you have blocks at home or something to be used in a similar manner, just bring them alongside your ankle. And you're sinking down through the pelvic floor and ensuring that front knee doesn't crank past your ankle. So we're just going to melt the hips for a moment. And some of you may not even need blocks. You may be able to take the hands to the floor, or you may be able to lower the level of the blocks. And this is where you have to pay attention to all those things we mentioned. Your genetics, your skeletal system, your strength, your flexibility, how it feels, what sensation is coming in. And then, of course, some of the alignment, like the shin being perpendicular to the floor. All right, we're going to take it into half Hanumanasana. So if you drive the blocks back and then lean back into your hips and straighten the front leg, you're going to peel the right foot off the floor where you're just stacked at the center of your heel. Try not to collapse into your left hip. Try to stay long through your spine. Reaching the heart up and over the leg. And then, of course, checking in. If you have the availability, you can always bend the arms and fold down a little deeper. And then we're going to come back to the sole of the foot, re-lunge the knee, drop down through the hips, And we're kind of leaning forward with our torso. The shoulders relax from the ears. Finding a drishti point with your eyes. And now track the blocks back, flip the right foot. And this is the half split, half Hanumanasana. Affirming I am a unique expression. Now we're going to come back to the sole of the foot. Let the hips descend towards gravity. We're going to lose the blocks for just a moment, stepping them to the sides or out in front, to curl the back toes under, to lift the back knee off the floor. And we're going to press down through the left hand and slowly sail the right arm skyward. Press lightly through your back calf and heel. Lengthen out through the front thigh. Squeeze the right hip in. And take one more deep breath. Exhale, lower the right hand to the floor. We'll step the right foot back to downward facing dog. When you arrive to downward facing dog, let's walk the dog for a moment, but at a slow pace. Bend your left knee fairly deep. Push down heavier through the palms. Rise up taller through your seat. And then sink low through your right calf and heel. And now take it the other way. So bend your right knee fairly deep. Straighten out your left leg. Make sure you're still reaching up towards the pinnacle of the pose, even as you lower the left heel down. And now walk it out a little quicker from side to side. Coming back to downward facing dog. And then eventually coming back to your knees. The left foot is now going to step through between the hands. Check the alignment here as you sink towards gravity. Find your blocks, remembering each side's different. The expression that you create on one side of your body may look different than what you create on the previous side. So just drop the shoulders, melt the hips. Find something to gaze at with your eyes. Make sure the breath has open circuits, easy flowing. And now take the half split. So we'll bring the blocks or hands back or both, residing on the center of the heel and really lifting and spreading those toes to get the full effect through this extended leg. You can be up, shining the heart over, or you can bow down and close that gap more. All right, we're going to come forward back again to half lunge. So you feel the split action here through the hip region. And then when we walk it back, go ahead and take that half Hanumanasana, where the front leg is straight. Now we're warming into these areas that will need some open spaciousness to take us towards the expression of the full pose. Let's do it one more round, coming back to the sole of the foot. Bringing the hands or blocks forward, and you can get heavy in your lower body. Sometimes I like to think like I'm getting pulled and sucked down into quicksand, not in a fearful way, but in just a heavy way. And then come back to half Hanumanasana. And you are slightly turning your navel over towards the thigh. It's nothing extreme though. All right, we're coming back to the sole of the foot, and this is where we can lose the blocks for a moment. Stacking the hands on either side to curl the back toes, to pluck up the back knee. You can use your right fist or flat palm, but we're gonna sail the left arm skyward. We're taking a revolving twist. Notice if that back knee wants to drag down. If it does, you have to pull up through your hamstrings. And when you do that, you're gonna feel your quads really snug and hug around your thigh bone. Good, exhale, we're gonna land the left hand back to the floor. While we're here, let's go ahead and move that blanket to the side, and then we'll spring the back foot forward. When the feet come side by side, go ahead and roll down into Uttanasana, your standing forward fold. Let's just really open the back side of the legs. Decompress that low back if you've been standing or sitting a lot today. You can even lightly nod your head. And then affirming here as you hold, nothing and no one on this earth can hold me down or back. I am my own unique expression. Now press down through the feet and find your blocks. I'm gonna have to move a couple of things here. Actually, I can move myself. You want your blocks lined up with your shoulders. That's better. And your hips are aligned over your ankles. So it's almost like tabletop position, and then we're helping to bring the floor to us. Okay, once you have that measured, then we're gonna slowly come up. Ooh, I'm already feeling that. I don't know if you guys are. Hands to prayer position at your heart. Okay, drill the feet down. Inhale, lift the arms up overhead. As you exhale, shift your weight onto your left foot. Start to hinge forward and create warrior 3. Vajrasana. Now land your hands back to the blocks. And notice if that right hip is turned up a little bit. You'll be able to tell if you can feel that asymmetry in the sacrum or hips, or if you're feeling the stretch more through the inner left thigh. So if that's the case, roll the right hip down and really push back through that heel. When you have the hips square, it'll feel more symmetric in your low back, and you'll feel more of the circumference of the whole standing leg engaged. All right, this is starting to get a little tiring. So what we're gonna do, you can either bend your arms and bow your head and then point the right foot and scissor that leg up. Or at this point, you might be able to steal the hands to the floor. Continue to scissor the right leg skyward. Now the right hip is opening. This is a form of the standing split. All right, exhale, start to bend that left knee. Slowly sail the right foot down and then bring the hands back to frame the foot. All right, you did it. Now reach forward, find those blocks because you're probably gonna need those as well. We're gonna press into the left foot, straighten out the front leg, and we're gonna roll the right hip towards our hands. So again, we're trying to square the hips. Now I'm gonna purposely walk my blocks back a little bit so you can see my left toes, but you don't have to do that, okay? Right now, I'm pedaling that left foot forward, and it's activating the top of the foot, the front of the ankle. You can even feel it really you can feel it through the back of the leg too. Now slowly begin to lift the left toes and the arch of the foot. And you're flying that portion up. And then as you exhale, you can just be here, or you can bow over the front leg. Inhale, if you bowed over, you're re-straightening the arms. As you exhale, you're sinking down through the sole of the foot, and then you're re-lunging the knee. All right, inhale, we straighten the front leg. As we exhale, we turn the right hip towards the front foot. Inhale, pedal the left foot closer to the sticky mat. Maybe on your exhale, drive down. Inhale, if you draped over, slowly come back up. Remember, it's not how we look in the pose, it's how we feel in the pose. Peel the toes that arch of the foot up. You can stay here, just resting on the heel, or you can bow. Slow, conscious effort. Inhale, coming back up. Exhale, re-lunge that left knee. Good, we're gonna lose the blocks for a moment. Step back to the hands, it's time to Vinyasa. So we're gonna step it into plank. Remember, you can modify lowering the knees or just shift your whole body and lower down to Chaturanga. Inhale, rise to upward facing dog. And exhale, roll it back to downward facing dog. When you arrive to downward facing dog, press into your hands and stretch beneath the arms, into the pit of the arms. Stretch through the back of the legs and into the behind that area of your knees. And send all the energy up into your seat. Take one more breath. And then on your next inhale, lift your left leg halfway up, just halfway up. Push into your hands more and feel how you can stretch back a couple more inches. Now point the toes, lift the leg skyward, and when you're ready, step the left foot all the way through and up between the hands. I know we're on the same side, it was intentional. We're gonna bring the blocks back in. We're gonna set up in that low lunge, and then press down through the sole of the left foot and then straighten out the front leg. Exhale, swirl the right hip forward. The back heel is off the floor in this version. Now peel the toes, the arch up on the front foot. Exhale, yogi's choice, whether or not you fold. Inhale, if you did fold, come back up. And as you exhale, plant the foot, re-lunge the knee. All right, we're gonna do that one more time. Inhale, straighten the front leg. Exhale, square the hips. Inhale, apply more pressure down to the balls of the feet. Reach and radiate through the heart. Exhale, yogi's choice, whether you bow or not. Inhale, coming up. Exhale, peel the toes, the arch up. Release the foot, re-lunge the knee. All right, and we're gonna take the blocks forward of that foot, unless you need them for standing splits. Your hands may stay on the floor as we launch the right leg up in the air. Now, if you're not using blocks, I want you to find them. Restack shoulders over hands, square the hips again, push back through the right heel. And I'm going to challenge you here. Come to the fingertips to create a little levity in the upper body. Maybe stretch through the arms, warrior three, and then come all the way up to stand. Ooh, hamstrings may be burning tomorrow. All right. Ground the feet. Zip up through your midriff. Hands to heart. We're only doing 2 sun salves, so we're going to move into the second. Reach the arms up overhead. All right, this time we're shifting the weight into the right foot as we hinge over to Vajrasana 3. Reach through the lifted limbs. Exhale, lower your hands to blocks. And you may have to reset them, and that's okay. Pausing here and then noticing if you're hiking that left hip up. I can tell that I am. So realign if that's the case for you. Check in with your breath. If you've lost the circulation of your breath, then do less physically. Exhale, maybe bend the arms and dip down. You can also release the hands to the floor and scissor the left leg up. Either way is fine. Take one more breath. And then when we come down, we're softening the right knee, really stretching the left leg back. And then once it lands to the floor, the hands will have to come back. So once we're in this lunge, you may or may not want your blocks, but I'm using them. Press down through the right foot, straighten and structure your right leg. Square the hips, elongate the vertebrae. Yogi's choice whether or not you continue to bow down. If you did, inhale up. Exhale, we're going to lift the right toes, the arch of the foot. Your choice whether or not you fold. Inhale, bring it up. Exhale, land the foot, lunge the knee. All right, again, inhale, straighten out the legs. Standing Hanumanasana, the back heels off the floor. Exhale, choosing to be here or to soften the elbows. Inhale, you can come up. Exhale, you can lift and splay the right toes. You can determine whether or not you want to bow here. Inhale up if you did, and then exhale, relunge the knee. All right. We're really prepping for this, you guys. Right foot plank. Exhale, Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. And exhaling, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Pause here in your downward facing dog. Since we've done a few of these already, you may find that there's less effort required. And this is when we can relax into the asana and absorb the mind into the infinite. Inhale, lift your right leg halfway up. Push deeper into your hands, fly up to your seat. Maybe start to point the toes and lift the leg higher. And then let that give you some momentum to swing that foot through. Give yourself a helping hand if need be. We want that knee stacked with precision over that ankle. We can bring the blocks in. And we're setting up one more time. Another form of standing split, but this one both feet are on the floor. When you're pushing down through the toes and the ball of the foot, you should feel even the muscles that attach to the shin get a little tighter. All right, now peel the toes up. Maybe sink down. It's not required. Inhale, draw up. Exhale, lunge that knee. Inhale, straighten out. Exhale, possibly bow over. Inhale up. Exhale, flex the foot. Determining whether you fold or not here. Inhale up. Exhale, relunge that knee. All right, we get to conclude this one, but remember it has a big finale. So bring those blocks forward. When you're ready, lift the left leg skyward to this form of standing split. Keep a landing line down from your outer right hip to your outer ankle. When you're ready, find the blocks out in front of you. Lift your chest up. Push back through your left heel. Square the hips. Hug the belly in. Look forward. And maybe you need to keep your hands here. That's totally fine. This can be your expression. Or you can come to the fingertips, create a little levity. Maybe lift the arms. And then eventually landing the foot. Standing in Tadasana. All right, we're going to do a balancing position. And then we're going to come down and actually do the pose with props. So I want you to broaden the base of your left foot and then shift your weight onto it and stack all the bones and joints. Remember your unique expression. We're all a piece of the tapestry of life. So what we're going to do while we're here is we're going to start to lean forward and catch the right knee. And this may be all you do. If you can easily lace your hands around the bottom of your foot, you're going to stay folded over and stretch the right leg out. And then release. Take your time with that because that can be tough. And I was going to say, you can even use a wall. I'll turn my back to you really quick. Hopefully you can see. You can always stretch one leg out, foot to the wall, and fold over, which is also really nice. Okay, but we'll try it the same way. Spread the base of your right foot. Stack and stand on the bones and joints. Start to fold. Catch the knee. Maybe the foot. Tadasana C. When you're ready, safely, cautiously come out. Okay. We're going to come down to the floor, but let's flow. So let's step to the top of the mat again. Hands to prayer. Inhale, circle the arms overhead. Exhale, center. Bring your palms together and bow straight down. Inhale, halfway up, Ardha Uttanasana. And exhale, step it back. And sink down with your knees. All right, we're back on the floor. And this is what we're going to do. We're going to stack. Think about your body, the poses that we've done. We're going to be working with hamstrings. We're going to be working with hips. So this is what I'm going to do, and you can join me, but you know that the blocks can also go taller. I'm going to start it on its lowest level. The cool thing about using props is you can add or delete at any time. I'm going to take my bolster next. So if you have more of a pillow, that's okay. Stack that on top next. If you had a blanket or another toss pillow, think about your blanket, right, folded in half. It's kind of like a toss pillow. But you can also fold it long ways in half, which is like another mini bolster. You may or may not need that. So I'm going to go without first, but I'm going to have it close by just in case. And then we're going to try to go for it. So let's go through it slowly. Now that we've had our stack of props, I want you to step your right foot over to the other side. And then once you do that, see if you can create the same lunge that we did earlier. And this is where the test is. With that right foot over, lunging into the knee, if you actually feel your pelvic floor sitting on top of the props, it's all you need. But if you still have some space or distance between the two, this is when you want to add in an extra prop. Once you have your body touching the props in the half lunge, stack your hands on top, lean the hips back away from the props, because now, in order to move into the splits, we're going to lift the right heel and we're going to skate the right foot forward, slide it out in front of us, and then you should be able, right, to still be on your props. If you're pushing down with your hands to come up because the stretch is too much, it's a sure tell sign that you need more padding, maybe that blanket. If you're okay here, and if it feels too high, if you don't feel like there's enough, you can try to delete a prop or two. But what we're kind of going for with this expression tonight is to be able to see if we can take the hands to the hips, or even free the arms up and reach them overhead. And of course, if this is too much for your legs, keep your hands down or exit out. And then affirm mentally, I am a unique expression in the universal tapestry of creation. All right, we're going to lower the hands. Now to come out, it's a little trickier. If you push down through your hands and pull up through the pelvic floor, you should be able to slide that right foot back. And then I cross my right hand over to the inside of the leg and then swing it back. Hopefully that helps. And then we'll take the left foot to the forward side of those props. And you kind of test the waters the same way. And remember, each side's different, right, as far as our flexibility. So one side you may need more or less props. If you're actually sitting and touching the props here, then you're safe to continue on. And it's kind of like we're about to go back into the half split, right? What we did at the very start to warm up. But then we just skate that foot forward, slide it out, square the hips. And then if you can free up your arms, take some deep breaths. I am a unique expression of the divine. And then we're going to bring the hands down. And then you push down with the hands to pull up through the pelvic floor to slide the left foot back. And then just walk that foot over to the other side. And now I'm going to give you two options. If you have these props, maybe you want to create Stonehenge, where you have the two blocks parallel, bolster on top. And then you can stack your legs on top of that. If you have a free space at the wall, since we were really working with splits today, if you want to nurture those legs and calm your mind, you can do legs up the wall. So go ahead and get nice and settled. Into the pose of your choice. And it's okay if you take another position altogether. Hopefully by now you're more connected to your higher self, more in tune with your body to know exactly what you need. And as you close your eyes, begin to relax the muscles of the body. Maybe take a couple breaths where you extend out your exhalations. And allowing those long, drawn out exhalations to anchor you in a little bit deeper. Continue maintaining this calm state of mental focus. And it's helpful if you gaze in and up to your mind's eye. I want you to consider that our whole life is an expression of our thoughts, because our thoughts create our reality. So for the next few minutes in relaxation, you're going to be mindful and watchful of those thoughts. You're going to notice in each moment what you are expressing. And while you're watching and witnessing your thoughts, try to neutralize any expression from the face. Affirming mentally within, I am a unique expression. I celebrate my own unique expression. I'm grateful for my own unique expression. And take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, hug the left knee in or slide the foot down the wall, depending on your position. Inhale, release the left side. And then exhale, hug your right knee in or slide that foot down the wall. Now take a hold of both. Let your knees roll to the left and let your arms be wide open so you're in a twist, a supine twist. Take 3 deep breaths. And then inhale, knees to center, and exhale, take the knees over to the other side. Breathing in and breathing out through the nose. Three more breaths. And go ahead and just roll to that same side your knees are facing. Come on up to take a formal seat. And then once you come up to sit, place your hands together to prayer. So what we end our practice with, namaste, can actually also translate to mean my soul sees and recognizes your soul. So I'm going to change that a little bit tonight. My soul and unique expression sees and recognizes your soul and your unique expression. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Namaste.